to everyone. Glory to Jesus Christ. Very glad to see you after a long summer break. You know, summer is not good time for studies, so we needed break. And I hope, like I am, you also, after nice relax, ready to continue our studies. We still stay with Theotokos, because there is another very important topic that I would like to discuss before we, go to another page, another chapter. Anticipating that I could say that the next chapter we will speak about temple, theology of temple. But Immaculate Conception, this topic is very important, I guess, because this dogma about Immaculate Conception is the last one about Mary, and it's almost the last one in Catholic Church. It's about Pope of Rome. It's about this power of St. Peter, about not mistakes in proclamation of faith from Pope of Rome. But before this, about our faith and not about authority of Pope of Rome, is this one, Immaculate Conception. You see here the year 1854, and also the name of Bulla, Ineffabilis Deus. Ineffabilis Deus we could translate as ineffable God, inexpressible God. And the after of this Bulla, the last word, end of the story with great discussion about Immaculate Conception that we also will speak about. This discussion was ended with decision of Pope of Rome, Pius, number 9. There were many Pius, so his number is 9. Why it's so important? First, Immaculate Conception really brought scandal inside of Catholic Church. It was very big discussion that divided theologians of Roman world into schools and two parties. And I think it's interesting also see how Church later, not in first centuries, arrived to express faith. And second, if we speak about Christian East, we have to say that, for example, we Byzantine Catholics and in full union with Pope of Rome, of course, we accept this dogma because we have the same faith. But our Orthodox brothers reject this decision of Pope Pius, reject proclamation of the Bulla Ineffabilis Deus, because it's something new, and of course because it's from the Rome. But also there is discussion between East and West about Immaculate Conception. We also will touch this discussion in our meetings. We will speak about this, because even in Orthodox East, Immaculate Conception make a scandal, because part of not united with Pope of Rome, Christian East, was against Immaculate Conception, and another party, another school was for it. So it's, I think we could spend at least couple, we'll see how long will it take, but I think at least couple meetings we'll discuss Immaculate Conception, and we'll try and understand what is the place of this dogma in East and in West. Okay, first, Like I said, this dogma was proclaimed in 19th century. So what church was doing before? Of course, we will speak about this later. We have different expressions that bring us to think about Mother of God. It's about in context of Immaculate Conception. For example, in Eastern tradition, what we have? We have this more honorable than the cherubim, and Bio compare more than seraphim. We have these titles, we have these expressions that really give to Mary special holiness. All holy, pure virgin. But church never, in the beginning, in this patristic age, in first millennium most of all, never said directly that Mary had Immaculate Conception. Never proclaimed Immaculate Conception directly. We could discuss why. Maybe they were busy with Christological heresies. Maybe it was enough for them dogma that already existed about Mother of God, Theotokos. It was more than enough. But in the beginning of second millennium, in West, this discussion was started. Like I said, please don't think that Immaculate Conception was invented in second millennium in West. Don't think in this way. It's only Christian East, and generally first millennium of Christian theology didn't develop this topic too much. We had different expressions that we will speak about them. We have different ideas, but the challenges of epochs, you remember, persecution of icons, Christological heresies, that one was coming after another. So different disasters with invasions, Arabic invasion, and other wars on the eastern border of Byzantine Empire. So really, theology of Theotokos was stuck in Ephesus and with Ephesus, the city in Syria. But later, one gentleman, his name is Edmer of Canterbury. In Latin, it Edmerus of Canterbury. We even cannot say exactly when he passed away. There are two dates, not 2 days. There are history thinks that he passed away between 1128 and 1139. So would say it's the first part of 12th century. He passed away. Who he was? He was Benedictine monk. And this is already another topic to discussion, because we could spend lessons and lessons speaking about meaning of Saint Benedict and his monks in formation of Europe. How Saint Benedict was one gentleman that inspired of monastic life in Italy, started live monastic life, and after gathered congregation around him and started and also leave us the order, the law, prescription, and his model became universal in Western world. All this famous, how you say it in English, abbacies? Did they say it good?
Abbots?
Like big monastery, abbacy? Abbeys. Okay. abbeys. They all were Benedictines. So, and we could say, we have to say that Pope Benedict, number 16, this famous Ratzinger, he asked Cyril and Methodius and also Saint Benedict be patrons of Europe. And Saint Benedict, of course, very important because monks of Saint Benedict, we could say, built the foundation of Europe. Their monasteries around whole Western world became centers of education, culture, printing of books. They were writing books by hand, but first libraries started them. They were multiplying books because we were monks, copying books by hand. And of course it pushed to education. They had schools. Also, their monasteries were centers of charity and also centers of agriculture. It's interesting that they were coming on territories not good for living, and with hard work were changing these lands in very fruitful for harvest. So their inheritance is incredible, and many personalities, bishops, popes of Rome, I don't know, famous preachers, theologians, in that time, they usually Benedictines, because this order, it was not order in our modern understanding. Every monastery, every place was like autonomous, but they were trying to live according to this universal model of Saint Benedict, applying the same rules, the same style of life. 8 hours, ore et labore, work and pray. Ore et labore, no, pray and work. This is the main idea of Saint Benedict. So 8 hours of prayer every day for a monk. 8 hours. 8 hours of work, of physical or intellectual, and 8 hours for relax. And could you imagine, with hundreds and hundreds of monks in every monastery, how productive they were, spiritually and also physically? You know, education, books, agriculture, icons, everything. Every aspect of European life was touched by them and changed by them. So, of course, that in that time in England, Admer of Canterbury was Benedictine. He was monk, he was theologian, he also became a bishop. He is known because he left us his book, The Life of Anselm of Canterbury, and also he left History Novorum in Anglia. So it's history of modern England of his time. And another of his writes that is interesting for us is the Latin, De Conceptione Sancte Maria, about conception of Holy Mary. And he was the first one that in West started loudly speak about Immaculate Conception, because in this his right, De Conceptione Sancte Maria, about conception of Holy Mary, in the first part of 12th century, Admer of Canterbury started discussion about Immaculate Conception, because he was first speak about this. You should imagine the Europe of this time, 12th century, of course, not communications, not cell phones, no I don't know, Facebook, but bishops, theologians, between them had great communication because already existed different centers of intellectual life and spiritual life. So very soon, from France came answer, and first who answered to this was Bernardus of Clairvaux. Did you hear about this? It's another Benedictine monk. So there are different branches of Benedictine order. Trappists, Cistercians, Benedictines like this, Benedictines like that, but he also was abbot, in Eastern way we say igumenon of abbey in Clairvaux in Burgundy, France. And he also known, you know, if you Google Saint Bernard from Clairvaux, you will see that this is so bright and great personality involved in political life, spiritual life, war conflicts, in everything, because they were really influencers of life in that time. So he was against this idea. He offered his critique to Immaculate Conception. Also, for offer you some of ideas. So Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, from Clairvaux, he passed away in 1153. So probably his answer was done later to the book of Edmer and not to Edmer directly. So probably ideas of Immaculate Conception needed this time to be spreaded from England to another part of Christian world in the West, for get some answer. And when this book arrived to France, of course, one of the leaders, spiritual leader of France, Bernard, read it and answered. Another one is Alexander de Alès. He was Franciscan, and it's already like, we could say, next generation of theologians, because Alexander passed away in already 13th century, 1245 in Paris. And he also theologian, he's founder of theological school for Franciscans in Parigi. He is a doctor, and if you're familiar with this time, Christian theologians in Europe, they all were children of universities, European universities, Köln, Bologna, Italy, Köln is Germany, Parigi, Paris, like I said, Naples later, Bologna was the first. And going to education of universities created in Europe on the base of cathedrals and Benedictine monasteries, they created Western theological tradition. And also, if you check all these famous people, they had title, doctor of theology. And also now we name them as doctors of church. It's typically Western Roman phenomenon, doctors of the church. And it's about these people of second millennium, these theologians, professors, doctors of universities. And interesting that everyone has own title because was famous for some specific topic. For example, I will mention you later some names of them. This one, Alexandre de Alice, he was professor in Paris. Doctor Irrefragabilis, it was his title. Another one is Bonaventura, Giovanni di Fidanza, and this one also is Dr. Seraphicus, because one of his tractatus was about seraphims, angels. So he got this title. And Bonaventura, Bonaventura is his like nickname. Whatever. Okay. Giovanni di Fidanza. He passed away in 1274. He is also a famous doctor of the church, and he is one of the fathers of this theological school of Franciscans. Because later we will speak about another theological school of Dominicans. Two these orders appeared in the same time because St. Francis and St. Dominic, they lived in the same epoch in different parts of the world, but in Spain and in Italy, but they created their orders almost in the same time, and they already from beginning started their own theological vision, own theological schools. So Bonaventura, Giovanni di Fidanza, he is scholastic, he is Franciscan, he was general of the order, and after he also became cardinal. So you see this poor religious, because Dominicans and Franciscans were founded as poor orders. They very fast started to make career in Catholic Church. So it's almost next generation and already cardinal of the church. So these people that I mentioned, another Benedictine, Bernard of Clairvaux, and two Franciscans, Alexander de Els and Bonaventura Giovanni di Fidanza, they were against Immaculate Conception. So you see, it's later. It's almost, in different cases with Bernard is not, but with Bonaventura and Alexander it's almost 100 years after. You see, and who reacted? Reacted the most bright professors and personalities of academical world, theological world in Europe in that time. Founders of the school, cardinal of the church, professors in Lyon and Paris, they reacted to Immaculate Conception negatively. So it means the discussion went so far that so high and bright personalities of that time should reacted on it because they could not keep silence, because this theological and academical environment already experienced the ideas of Immaculate Conception, and these ideas started to enter in minds of students, priests, clergy, bishops, monks, and people interested in theology. So they needed to answer. They could not leave it go because it was probably already so heavy topic to discussion and so important and so spreaded. What they say, we will speak more detailed about theology of Immaculate Conception later, but in simple ideas. Their reaction, their answer was this: protection of Mary from original sin is contradiction with theology of the redemption of all people by Christ. I will try to explain now. According to Latin theology, we, all people from beginning of our existence already sinners, because we have original sin. Original sin is this sin of Adam that we inherit when we come into this world. After to this original sin, we add our personal sins. When we do something by ourselves, you know, kill someone, steal something, lie to someone, whatever. When we break commandments of God. But original sin is something that we inherit. And now this is the difference between Eastern and Western theology, because in Eastern theology we more concentrate attention not on fact of sin. We more speak about broken nature, broken, spoiled, corrupted image and likeness of God that has been inherited. But Latin world, it's the world of the law. So categories of the law that was spreaded because of Roman Empire, also very strong in theology. So the fact of sin, original sin. This is like a category of the law. I have it from beginning. So when we have baptism, sacrament of baptism, we accept purification from original sin and from all sins that we have in this moment. And after we have to go to confession to be pure and clean from our own sins. But this original sin is something that we inherit. Is this disobedience that we already have. I'm speaking now in categories of Western theology, Roman theology. In Eastern world we speak differently about this. We put different accents. But, you know, before come to East in this topic, we have to first go to West, because discussion was started here, and what we have now, of course, is rooted in West. So what they say, if Mary was freed from original sin because of Immaculate Conception, original sin we inherit with conception. So we come in this world and we already have this sin with us. It's like, okay, what example I can offer you? In Soviet Union, most of all in the beginning, people that were against Communist Party got titles enemies of the nation. They were sent in prisons, tortured, killed, whatever. But they got title, enemy of the nation. And interesting that it was so strong that their children, they didn't have nothing, they didn't act against party in Soviet Union, but they were children of these people that were active against, or even not active, but they proclaimed their position that is opposite to Communist Party. They were named children of enemies of the nation. So they were already blamed because of their parents. Do you understand me? So when we come, or for example, I don't know, a father left something that his son should fix after him. Think about this, you know. So in Eastern world, we don't speak about titles and categories of the law. We speak about nature. So we could say that parents had illness that genetically was transferred to a child. And this is who we are spiritually. We inherited the damage of the nation from the damage of the nature from Adam. But it's not about categories. In Latin world, it's about categories. It's about titles. It's about, thinking according to law structure. So, microphone is not agreeing. So, Mary, because of Immaculate Conception, was freed from original sin. He didn't have this sin, original sin from Adam, because her conception was immaculate. It's also interesting because human life begins from conception. So the theology of Immaculate Conception, the Admir of Canterbury, in his theology intended to say that Mary should be pure and holy, but if we have original sin, she should be freed, liberated from it in right beginning of her existence. And this beginning of human life is conception. So should be Immaculate Conception. What answered all these people that I mentioned, Saint Bernard, Alexander, and Bonaventura Giovanni di Fidanza, they say that it breaks idea of redemption of Christ for whole people, because Mary is excluded from whole humanity. And what about all us, all another people? So Mary, in this case, she is like like this Marvel superhero. It's not usual like we are. It's like super being, because Christ saved all us from original sin because of restoration of humanity in Him and His resurrection and theosis in Him, inside of Him, deification. So in Him we live redemption. And also this redemption covers whole people, means Mary should be between all of us. She should be with all of us. And Immaculate Conception doesn't have any reason, because it's like unusual, very strange exception that breaks the redemption of Christ for all of us. Do you understand me? But later also appeared supporters of Immaculate Conception. This supporters is interesting that beginning of Franciscan theological school was against Immaculate Conception. But the next generation of theologians, of Franciscans in the same school, when I say school, I don't mean the building. I mean theological ideas, conceptions, and approaches to make theology. They could live in Paris, in Lyon, in Naples, in Bologna, but they were living according to the same principles of theology. The next generation, William of Ware. For make you understand, William of Ware passed away in 1305. 1305, so it's already right beginning of 14th century. For remind you, Alexander de Alice, Admir of Canterbury, this starter of Immaculate Conception theology in the West. He passed away, we say, in the first part of 12th century. The people that criticize him, they all passed away except Bernard. We speak about Franciscans. They passed away 100 years after his death, and let's say another 30-50 years appeared another group we could say, next generation that already were supporters of ideas of Immaculate Conception. So you see how long is this? So it's 150 years from the beginning that this idea was started, and people didn't stop to discuss it. It was like a virus for this theological, academical, and church environment. It was started discussion about Mary, about Mother of God, that last time church had so strong discussion in 3rd, 4th century. So almost 1,000 years, a little bit less, yeah, it was silence. Church didn't have time for Theotokos. But in Western world, in 12, 13, and 14th century, it was explosion. And next generation was answering to previous generation. It was even discussion not between people in some class. I am sure that there were many discussions like this. When in the same class, in the same university, different professors or students were discussing about Immaculate Conception. I am sure, but in this bright, known doctors of the church, we can see how powerful was this discussion, how important was this topic, how many minds and hearts were really disturbed that we didn't say everything about Mother of God, that there is something the church missed, lost, that is still not clear, that revelation of God is still not, open for us fully. So, William of Ware, another Franciscan friar, theologian, he lived in England, United Kingdom. His title is Doctor Fundatus, and also second title is the Doctor Preclarus. Interesting. Doctor Fundatus is a doctor established, and Doctor Preclarus is doctor very clear. So probably he was this kind of professor that students didn't have extra question to him because he was very clear, and because of this he got this title. Another one, and this one please remember, because people don't know too much about Alexander de Alice, but about William of Ware, but John Duns Scott, it's one of the brightest Franciscan theologians in the history of the order, and one of the most famous doctors of the church. And this is probably the name that expresses the school of St. Francis order in Europe, I would say. So, John Duns Scott, he passed away in Köln, Germany, in 1308. He was philosopher, theologian, and also doctor of the church, Doctor Subtilis, Doctor Thin. Probably he was speaking about very thin topics, I don't know why. Whatever. These two people, and most of all John Duns Scott, that had very great influence on theological world and church environment, they say that Immaculate Conception should be accepted by church. And that theology was the argument why. They were saying that Mary was freed from original sin, and it was not exception from redemption of Christ, but it was anticipation of future redemption of Christ. So that is not, this is theology. When we don't know something but we have sources, and studying and discussing and praying to Holy Spirit, we have to finally say in the end in what we believe. And this discussion took a lot. If you notice, we started our meeting with this date, with this year, 1854. This is when dogma about Immaculate Conception appeared. Now we speak about John Duns Scott that passed away in 1308. 1308. So more than 500 years before dogma was proclaimed. So you see how long did it take, how long this discussion was inside of the church, and finally how we achieved this moment. So we will try to go through. We cannot do this very, very detailed way, but you know, how we can. Okay, so Immaculate Conception, according to these Franciscans, William of Ware and John Duns Scott, Immaculate Conception is not exception. It does not break the redemption of Christ. It's a part of redemption of Christ, but it's anticipation of redemption. Why? Of course, because Mary should be in future Mother of Christ. And Holy of Holies cannot be, okay, what we could say, you cannot put holy gifts in a dirty tabernacle. Do you understand me? So you cannot change some dirty barak in the temple so easy. You have to clean it. If it's temple, it should be pure and clean. If it's tabernacle, it should be sanctified to God for keep holy gifts. This is what's idea, that Immaculate Conception, so liberation, freedom of Mary from original sin, that is dirt, should be right from beginning of her being, in conception. In conception. Because, of course, she will be redeemed in future, and this is anticipation. It's because of Christ, not because she is superhero, you know, some Marvel personality. No, but because of Jesus Christ. Because of Jesus Christ. Because she will be his mother, the temple of divine presence. And she should be cleaned, freed from original sin. Not against redemption, but as a part of redemption, but in anticipation. Do you understand me? Okay. Now, let's speak about different theological points of view about Immaculate Conception in Christian West. We don't speak about East. East will come later. So, I will present you 3 points of view that lived probably sometime also all together, at least 2 of them. First belongs to St. Augustine of Hippo. St. Augustine of Hippo, he is father of the church. He is most famous Western father of the church. For create your idea, when he lived between 4th and 5th century. We know exact year of his death. He was Bishop of Hippon, and it's Northern Africa. Don't think about modern Arabic Northern Africa. No, Northern Africa in that time was part of Roman Empire. And people were speaking in Latin. intelligent people in cities who are speaking in Latin between them. Because we know that St. Augustine never managed to learn Greek. All fathers of the church, they knew Greek, and Greek was their language. And why Augustine is so bright in West? Because he was only one who didn't know Greek, and he needed to rethink whole tradition by himself from right beginning. He didn't take some inheritance from previous fathers, but he did everything by himself from zero, because he didn't have access to that inheritance without knowledge of Greek. Also because of this, he is in first millennium, he's number one for West. But even in second millennium, Franciscan school was pretty based on ideas of St. Augustine, and by using him a lot. So what he said, Mary became immaculate from the moment of Jesus' birth, that she was purified by this event. One more time. According to St. Augustine, Mary became pure when she gave birth to Jesus Christ. And because of birth of Jesus Christ, she became pure and immaculate. The birth of Christ purified her and freed her from every stain. So you see, birth of Christ. We don't consider this as a part of our faith. It's his theological point of view. He was thinking in this way. In his reflection about Mary, he thought that Mary became pure and immaculate because of birth of Jesus Christ. Second point of view, of course, this idea is not part of discussion about Immaculate Conception. Not at all. Because it's beginning of purification of Mary, it's birth of Christ. Immaculate Conception, and birth of Christ, it's not the same. Second point of view belongs to St. Thomas Aquinas. And here, we don't have a lot of time, but I have to say you something about this. St. Thomas Aquinas, Dr. Angelicus, disciple of St. Albert of Köln, Dominican. It's the youngest, he was like a younger peer of St. Dominic. Of course, he entered in order after his death, but it's this first generation, we could say, of Dominicans. It's right beginning. He was professor in, let me remember, Naples, Paris, Köln, I don't remember now, whatever. He was traveling between 2 or 3 universities his life, and Dr. Angelicus, you know, did you see his Summa of Theology? How many books is this? Whatever. This guy tried to describe every aspect of reality theologically. Every aspect. And he dedicated a lot of time to angels. So it's why he Dr. Angelicus. But he spoke about everything, of course. Only try to see how many books enter, how many books he left after him. I could imagine how many hours he was spending to write these books. So, interesting that St. Thomas Aquinas, that started theological school of Dominicans, he was against Immaculate Conception. He's saint of Catholic Church. It also helps you to make a general picture of the church. You see, two saints could be in the same generation. Okay, two priests, two monks, two saints, two professors of theology, and think about the same topic differently. One says Mary had Immaculate Conception, and St. Thomas Aquinas say no, she didn't have. And mostly the Dominican school was against Immaculate Conception. It does not, how does it say? It does not, it does not delete St. Thomas from theological tradition, because his inheritance is great. And also some of the popes of Rome were very strict and detailed disciples of St. Thomas. Even they proclaimed the theology of Roman Catholic Church as a theology of St. Thomas. We had also this times, steps in history of the Catholic Church. But he was against Immaculate Conception. He passed away in 1274. So it's the second part of 13th century. He is, of course, in some way peer of John Duns Scotus, older peer. So what he said, Mary became immaculate in the time of the Annunciation. When the angel Gabriel preached and she conceived Jesus, God cleansed her so that she would become the mother of God. But until that moment, she had not committed any personal lawlessness. So what St. Thomas said? St. Augustine said that freedom from sins for Mary comes with birth of Christ. No one followed these ideas. But if purification and freedom of Mary comes from Jesus, St. Thomas said, the moment when Jesus dwelt in the womb of Virgin Mary, when presence of God appeared in this human temple, it's Annunciation. It's the conception of Jesus and not conception of Mary. So this moment when God came and dwelt should be the moment of purification. And she is freed because of appearance of God in her womb. I think it's smart. Also, it's very easy to say this is good, this is bad. But we see it was discussion in the church, and these people were believing in what they're saying, and they were discussing with each other, offering different arguments. The argument of St. Thomas was this: if it's about Christ, if we all redeemed in Christ, so Mary should be freed from sin, original sin, in the moment of conception. And this moment is Annunciation. But also he said it does not mean that Mary was sinner before. No, she was righteous girl. She was righteous. But original sin disappeared in moment of Annunciation. And this is his position. And he was until his death, he lived with these theological position, and his brothers, his disciples, followed him in these ideas. And finally, the third one, we already mentioned about Duns Scotus, John Duns Scotus. Scot because he was from Scotland, but he was professor in Köln, Germany. He was Franciscan friar, and he traveled, of course, from monastery to monastery. Okay, Duns Scotus. Mary, we already mentioned. Mary has been immaculate since her conception. This integrity does not concern the conception of Jesus. Mary is immaculate because of she is the most holy from the very first moment of her life. And this theological point of view we already tried to explain. So, first, before make from barak, dirty barak, a temple of God, we should come and enter in this barak, clean it, paint the walls, bring icons in, change this dirty barak in the temple, and after consecrate this to God. Before put holy gifts in tabernacle, we should be sure that this box is tabernacle and not, I don't know, box for shoes. Do you understand me? So we have to consecrate this to God and clean it. It should be dedicated to divine presence. It should be temple. For say that this building is temple, a bishop must come and consecrate the building as a temple. Bless that and say this is temple and do the rite of blessing. Before it's only building. For say that this is tabernaculum and not microwave, I don't know, or whatever, box for shoes. We have to create this for this purpose, for be tabernacle, and also consecrate this to God. And consecration from Old Testament is take from the lay world and make it part of holy. So stop use in the human world of an object. It's not for everyday use. It's not for humans. It's for God. So it's taken away, taken out from human world and dedicated to God. It was with every element of temple in Old Testament, with every element of this tent, tabernacle during journey in the desert, and also it was the temple. The same with the temple in Jerusalem. The same is with Mary, is Saint Duns Scotus. He says this in different words. I transfer his words through my mind in this way. So she was holy and immaculate from the first moment of her life, not when Jesus was born, like St. Augustine thought, not in the moment of conception, like thought St. Thomas Aquinas. Duns Scotus says, no, for be temple of God, for be mother of God, she should be purified from the first moment of her being. And the first moment of her being, according to Christian theology, is the conception, because human life begins with conception. It's another answer to how we name it in our country, rights of procreation, or against abortion. Life begins with conception. And Mary, because she is preparing to become Mother of God, she's consecrated to be Mother of God. She should be liberated and freed from original sin from the last beginning, and this is the conception. I prepared also today the little bit of history, what happened after these discussions, because like I said, is 12, 13, and mostly 13 and a little bit of beginning of 14th century, but a little bit of history before we came to proclamation of dogma, and also I prepared the theology, little bit of theology of the bulla Ineffabilis Deus, so we can see the arguments of Pope of Rome that he used to proclaim this dogma. Probably we do this next time, okay? And after we go to the East, and we'll see how this discussion affected Christian East, and what we have now. Okay, so thank you for your attention, and sorry for my English today. I don't feel to be too much clear, but I will work on it. Glory to Jesus Christ.